How's it going, everybody? The TG is coming to a close, or it's finished already. I don't know when this video will come out, to be honest. Never mind that though, I will make a separate video about how this specific TG was conducted, as I think it was a bit of a wasted opportunity here. But more on that in a few days. The Conqueror summary is out already, so have a look as well if you've missed it. This video today will solely focus on the Dominion changes. Here's a short refresher, as this is the third, I think, iteration of these changes. The main focus is on Renown and Score. Renown is the method on how and how quickly you unlock your feats, and Score refers to the actual numbers in the top right, meaning the 1000 you need to push the enemy team into break-in. Both of these were adjusted. First Renown, as you can see, these values stayed exactly the same as the second week in the last testing round. Nothing changed. Defender Renown, Ace bonus, and all that is gone now. They've removed the parts that were hard to understand for the average player, he says while trying to not sound overly condescending. But what they did adjust are the feat thresholds on when you unlock each one of them. They've all been lowered. 50 for tier 1, 120 for tier 2, 210 for tier 3, and then 320 for tier 4. I'll explain why in just a bit. Let's list all the changes first. Capture timers of zones were standardized and reduced. No matter how many people are on a point, it's always 4.5 seconds. And then the point generation from each lane, boosting points went down in value and holding the minion lane went up, massively at that actually. They are the same now. If you played a match, you know that the in-game UI now displays a +2. Here you can see that it's actually only 1.5, but the UI always rounds those numbers. Once again, highly confusing stuff. Decimal numbers require insane levels of maths. Nevertheless, this is what we have now. The background clips you're currently watching are from a testing ground tourney that Spaniard hosted. This was really the only proper way to gauge how this plays out, because for one, the number adjustments were quite small. B, the TG died pretty much instantly, so no data, but more on that in the next video. Point is, when talking to top level players, the consensus was pretty much that they disliked this greatly. Let me explain why. Let's start with the scoring system. Holding the minion lane is the equivalent of boosting a point, which means that fights will mostly happen around that lane. Letting someone farm the minions on top of it will skew the score quite significantly and quickly. The focus shifted from side points to the minion lane, reducing the number of objectives. Mid lane is the most important now. We frequently saw teams abandon points instead of boosting and defending them. Side points are still important as a means of healing, but they've lost a lot of value otherwise. Granted, a lot of value for side points came from Defender Renown. Your whole team could boost their Renown significantly with it. And while it was nowhere close to a healthy state, the complete removal was overkill in my book. The high values of 20 and 25 made it so that players in the early and mid-game portion of a match valued the Renown much higher than Score. It was way more beneficial to unlock your feats early and then translate this into Score. This also resulted in teams being very picky on when to push enemy points. Losing a fight while contesting could result in a massive throw quite easily. But this also added a strategical element that is now completely lost. There is now no deterrent to pushing the enemy point. All the time. It's now the other way around. A bad decision used to be punished hard in the old system. The new system only rewards the opposing team with the kill itself in the worst case scenario. Let me elaborate further. Boosting a point gives less renown than contesting, so ideally you want to always fight on a contested point and gain your renown that way. This is now the main source of renown actually. So while we do know that the devs' intention was to promote backcapping, what they actually did was people mindlessly piling onto a point and dragging out fights that nobody can win, as reinforcements are only like 20 seconds away really. You respawn, you go fight on that point. There is no thinking involved, that's just the best thing to do if you want to unlock your feats. Now combine this with the slower capture timer, as multiple people no longer speed it up, and this can result in zones not being captured until like 7 minutes or more into a match. And we did have that happen in the tournament, so I'm not exaggerating here. Not only that, always contesting a point also stops the point generation. A never-ending fight, even on an already captured point, results in problems. But how does this combine with what I've said before then? I said mid is so important. Yeah, but only holding mid is enough. You only ever farm with one hero, and ideally, you farm in the opposing team's spawn, which cuts them off from going to a point again, contesting the point. Granted, I doubt this will happen often, but it's still something that I don't want to see promoted. It promotes fighting the minions over other players. Both score-wise and renown-wise, farming the mid lane is extremely worthwhile. Renown only for a single person, but still. I think this is a bad way to bring back the mid lane. The lane is too powerful right now and detracts from actual fights. Making it equal with a boosted point was worth a test, I guess, but I think it failed as an experiment. All in all, I feel like I'm repeating myself each time we see another iteration. I heavily dislike the devs' attempts at crowbarring in backcapping. It can't be the only appealing option. We need more incentives to go for different things. Defender Renown did that. In its current form, it's way too strong, but bringing it down to just 5 would still give an incentive to defend your point instead of giving it up instantly, going for mid, then returning to contest and stall point generation. There is no real risk involved, which ultimately leads to a more shallow tactical experience. Even if normal matchmaking is played in the style of monkey see, monkey kill, without any strategical oversight at all, this doesn't mean that we need to pander to this sort of playstyle. Just because the average matchmaking player doesn't know what the best decision is, doesn't mean that it shouldn't exist. It doesn't mean that it can't be a little complicated when learning it. There should be a learning curve with strategy, the same as it is with mechanics. Let people experiment. Give the players options so they can explore. Yes, it might be broken down and a flaw might appear when trying to give multiple options to succeed in a match. But opting for the solution to dumb it down is just sad. That solution shouldn't even have been one in the first place. So yeah, this testing ground didn't hit the mark, far from it. And I don't think it's a dismissal just because it's different. We should be adding things and enhance the strategical flow, not take away. Let's wrap this up then. Bring back Defender Renown, just massively reduced. Adjust midpoint generation and include a second capture timer. Look at healing, so winning a fight doesn't penalize you by having to fight a fresh respawn enemy straight away while you're half HP. That's a short version of my feedback, I guess. Let me know yours, guys. And if you want to watch the full 6-hour broadcast of that tournament, I will put the link to the Dojo YouTube channel in the description. All matches were casted, so show some love to Spaniard, Verb and Silver. Forget me, you can clown on me, I'm used to it. Alright then, I hope the video was helpful. Thanks for watching. Laters everybody.
Stuff.
Yeah.
I don't particularly enjoy it, but again,
That's why this place shouldn't exist in the first place.
No, it was not the kind of place that I would make if I were making a subreddit. I think it's a rather unhelpful mentality, but as it exists, I have to make mine. Oh, I think he carried out a block stun there. Or did he recovery cancel out into the nice?
Maybe.
Really stall out that.
Chill bash.
Silver does going for like if you throw into a wall and then sorry, I'm just looking at the heavy spam as it were. If you throw someone into a wall in revenge and then go for your revenge punish, and go for the punish on the wall. Let's say you wall throw them and then you go for a heavy. Does that take more time, or is it just because it's not as safe and they might still have revenge at the end of it and guard break you in a recovery or something like that?
Do you mean it's like throwing them and then not doing a heavy?
Yeah, because we saw that Blitz threw into a wall and didn't throw a heavy on his opponent, whereas he could have got a heavy even though Socks had revenge.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like some people like to bash on it, some people like to heavy on it. Like technically, like doing a late bash is what helps. What is the best choice. Whereas technically the best choice for any character is I guess running away is also an option you can do. Just run away, because then he has to chase you down, which also wastes his revenge. Like you throw them, then you just run
Especially
away.
against Bonk.
Oh, is it? Yeah, there we go.
And then there's some
Dude,
characters,
and their raider is nature is very, very low.
and then there are some characters like Highlander, where you can, just stall their revenge for even longer, or Lawbringer.
Ooh, Celtic.
And then I think even Kyoshin, if you can time the triple stabs.
Yeah, that
be
is a
perfect.
game-winning kill with Fujin Force. Just gonna put it out there. Sexy.